Joining me now, CEO for Airlines for America, Chris Sununu. Welcome back to the show. Chris, 10 airline CEOs, you know this, sent a letter to Congress pushing for TSA workers to get paid. So far, that call, both from the executives and a lot of other folks, have fallen on deaf ears. Are there other tools you have in your toolkit to put pressure on the president right now?
Well, I don't think they've fallen on deaf ears. I think there's been a lot of national attention and pressure over the last 48 hours. We heard that the Democrats have capitulated a little bit and actually engaged with the White House, sent something over. I don't know what the details were, but the story is that we've heard today is that they are actually talking and things are moving forward. Now, is it just a letter that moves this forward? No, it shouldn't take a letter from 10 CEOs. It should just take walking into one TSA line, looking one TSO in the eyes by a member of Congress or the Senate, and having to explain why they don't get a paycheck, even though they have nothing to do with the political fight there. So, you know, I guess the pressure we're trying to push is asking the Senate, congressmen, walk through those lines, look at those individuals, understand that they make $35,000 a year if they're lucky, and that you're asking them to go 4 or 5 weeks going on without a paycheck. That puts massive strain on the system. It's completely unfair. It's really hypocritical because it's the federal government not paying their own employees. You can't do that in the private sector, but somehow the federal government can get away with it. And there's solutions. There's solutions right there in front of them they could say yes to right now, whether it's funding DHS, long-term stability in the aviation field, so air traffic controllers or TSA workers, whatever the political football they're trying to kick around on any given day, those folks long-term are secured and paid for. It's what every other employer in America has to do. I don't know why the federal government thinks they can just write their own rules and play by a different set because they're here inside the Beltway.
You know, when you look at those long lines, it makes you nervous about traveling. I certainly have heard that from folks, and I'm not in any way minimizing that because it has an effect not just on the travelers themselves, but the agents who do come in, on the airlines who have people who haven't gotten to their gate in time. You know all that. I could go on and on. But there's also this. A TSA worker shared his concern that with everything that's going on in the world right now, this is not the time not to fund TSA. Take a listen.
I am a retired firefighter. I worked for 34 years and 4 months in Jersey City, New Jersey. I was there for the 93 bombing of the World Trade Center. I was there for 9/11. One of the things that we took out of these incidents is that when you have turmoil in a country and turmoil in the world, you gear up. You gear up your resources, different locations. There's more police here. You know, we should have more TSA. But we can't do that unless Congress does what they need to do. Fund us. Let us go back to work. Let us gear up.
Is there a level of security concern right now? Is he right about that?
Oh, sure. Look, without a doubt. And it's not just the security concerns for today, because that's obvious given what's happening internationally, seeing what we're seeing domestically as well. But long term, are we disincentivizing the next generation of workforce from entering this field, which is a great field around security, TSA, air traffic control, whatever it might be? I mean, the airlines drive the economy of this country and ultimately the world because we deliver all the products and all the health care and the FedEx and UPSs and Atlases airlines of the world, as well as all the passenger pieces as well. So we're disincentivizing folks from coming into a field that is robust, that is very important to our national security. And it's very easy. To everyone who has said no to funding so far, just say yes. Just say yes the next time. Seriously, the next time it comes for a vote, say yes, and we can move on. There'll be policy changes at DHS. There already have been policy changes at DHS. You're going to get a new secretary with Markwayne Mullin, a former senator, has friends on the Democrat side, appreciates and respects that process. That's going to be a huge opportunity to make sure that some of these long-term changes folks want to see are going to be there. All of that's moving forward in a positive way. All we ask is that the folks that keep saying no for political reasons, put politics aside. I know it's an election year, but let's just focus on your job for 5 minutes here. Say yes to funding, move forward, and kind of free the American people and these poor TSO agents that are just coming to work day after day without money. Let's free us from your political games.
Yeah, and if the TSA situation wasn't enough, you've got the Iran war driving up jet fuel prices.
That's right.
What does that mean for passengers trying to buy airline tickets this summer? I wonder, first of all, if fewer people are already buying.
Yeah, so no, right now we're still seeing a lot of sales going in and buying power going into the summer. That's where people are really looking. We have a very strong spring break in March and April, very strong travel. People aren't really backing out. They have to give themselves a little more time at some of the airports. But there's no reason to cancel your plans, no reason not to purchase a ticket. On the fuel side, you're going to see a small bump because fuel it's almost doubled on the jet fuel. That's about a quarter of the overall cost of the airline industry is just in fuel. So obviously that's going to push things up.
But there's been some reports that prices have gone up between 20 and 50% on some routes. Is that not true?
No, that's absolutely because jet fuel has doubled. Right. And it's about 25% of the overall cost. So when it's doubled, you're going to see things move up to, could be 25, 50% on any individual route. We want to make sure that that's temporary and not long term. We're asking the federal government to look at the strategic petroleum reserves, releasing some of that, maybe a little flexibility on the excise tax, some flexibility on the Jones Act. These are little policy things that can provide that temporary flexibility. But the economy is strong. People are spending money. People are traveling. Business travel is really working. International travel is there right now. We have the FIFA World Cup coming in. So there's a lot of really good positive things moving here. But these folks that keep saying no in Washington are putting kind of the whole system at risk. And we don't want to kind of see that for the long term.